Yo, welcome back. So, we did a little bit of stream earlier of some Golden Sun Randomizer. I was thinking about doing some more MGS non-lethal run, Peace Walker non-lethal run, but I don't know. I don't think I really want to spend too much time streaming tonight. So, yeah, I thought we'd end off with something that we're all used to at this point. It's been fun checking in on all of the anomalies at the Foundation. So yeah, we're reading some SCP Foundation Wiki, starting from number 111 up to 120. And of course we start with a random one. And yeah, I play my own music. And if you're scared, you might want to turn away. So yeah, this is kind of like a scary stories website. So if you're faint of heart, maybe, I don't know, go check out Imakuni. She's playing some Monster Rancher 2 right now. If she's still playing that after I'm done with this too, we're gonna send a raid at her. But yeah, let's continue. Not Discord. Forgot that it auto tabbed. This window. Thank you. What? Why do we keep getting Discord? What? I'm not paying attention to which browser source I'm looking at. No, for some reason it's just automatically capturing Discord. Okay. What? What are we even talking about right now? Oh, we're talking about Monster Energy, I see. Jeez, next time I show Discord, I should at least be in my own stream channel. Why is this window taking precedence? Okay, now it reloaded. What are you doing, OBS? Alright, so welcome back. Yeah, we start with a random one, and we're gonna do 111 through 120, so... What was this one called? I saw it earlier. Dragon Snails TM. Okay. Alright, let's get into this. Random SCP. What's this one gonna be? 4940. Interesting. Cool. Wait. I feel like I might have seen this when I was younger. Maybe this was like one of the 4chan ones I saw. Interesting. Well, 4940. The caption to the image says 4940, SCP-4940. And the name of the image is SCP-4940.jpg. It looks like a standard... I want to say power pole. Fucking Goku Wind Waker randomizer ruined my terminology somehow. It's a, like, telephone pole, basically. Yeah. There's some autumn leaves in the background, presumably from a tree. And it appears to be a photograph of a telephone pole. Or electrical wiring post, I guess, would be the name for it. I don't know. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know. Yeah, it seems like there's a transformer box or something. And I don't know what this is. Maybe harnesses for someone that would climb this? I don't know what this is. It could be cameras, too. They don't really look like CCTV cameras or anything, though. It's like a vague rectangular object, and this looks like a fucking telephone, like an old-timey 1960s telephone receiver. Just a bunch of wires running off in many directions. Yeah, we can see... It looks like overhead wires disappearing off into the horizon. There's also somewhat of like a distant side wire, again into the horizon. And then what appears to be maybe another one here. Yeah, there's something here. Looks like another wire. This could be like pylons, I don't know. These are definitely connected though. It looks like a fishing hook or something. And yeah, it's just a standard gigantic log of wood holding all of this together with a perpendicular steel beam or iron or rebar beam or whatever. Your typical standing pose for an operator, I guess. Alright, let's get into this one then, shall we? 4940, item number 4940, object class Euclid, special containment procedures. Any containment area holding 4940 instances is to be completely separated from any and all electrical grid or systems. No electronics of any kind are allowed within the containment area or within 30 meters of the containment area itself. Any personnel entering the containment area are required to wear full A309 Mark II armored hazmat handling and interaction suits. All personnel working in or around the containment area are to observe strict anti-static protocols as detailed in Handling Manual XO22E. Any conductive materials are to be monitored for charge or alteration, in addition to anti-conductive and anti-static coatings whenever possible. 4940 containment area is to be supplied with no less than two wooden poles per 4940 instance, ideally sourced from decommissioned but still viable commercial electrical cable poles. 4940 instances seem to show a preference for weathered poles as opposed to freshly constructed. 4940 instances will periodically move between provided poles. Instances will gather in groups of no more than 4 at times, but show a preference for isolation when viable. Sentient telephone poles? Poles are to be maintained at a height of no less than 15 feet. 4940 instances exhibited marked increases of aggression when less than 10 feet from the ground, with overall aggression escalating with a reduction in elevation. Injuries or damage resulting from 4940 are to be investigated for foreign metal particles in the injury/damage site. Particles are to be collected and secured outside the primary containment site. Foreign metal particles in the injury/damage site. Any personnel or equipment suffering electrical shock, surge, or damage are to be investigated and quarantined for a period of no less than 1 week for observation. Any recording or broadcasting equipment that experiences interruption or disruption within 60 meters of 4940 instances or recovered materials are to be secured and checked for surges or damage. Any recordings are to be secured, sealed, and transported to Central Records at the earliest possibility. No on-site review of said materials is to be allowed. Description: 4940 outwardly appears to be a standard electrical transformer common to most modern civic power grids. Closer observation will reveal that while superficially similar, 4940 lacks many markings and dimensions of actual electrical transformers. It has been observed that this disparity decreases the longer 4940 stays in one place, with most taking at minimum 4 months to achieve near-perfect camouflage. What? I like how this refers to it as camouflage. 4940 is only capable of mimicking other nearby transformers, and will often appear in time as an identical copy of another nearby, down to scratches and other markings. Is this Chrono Trigger? No, this is Nobuo Uematsu, but Final Fantasy VI, okay. I thought it sounded familiar. No on-site review of said materials is to be allowed. What? Why? (4940) is in reality an electrophagic and possibly electricity-based life form. Oh, it's like a rodum. When mobile, 4940 breaks the outer camouflage shell, revealing a metallic body similar to the common sea louse in general outline, weighing between 22 to 68 kilograms. 4940 lacks any internal organs or structures common to organic life, appearing to be an amalgamation of various conductive metals and alloys. It is unclear how this structure carries out mode of action. 4940 also carries a massive electrical charge, several times higher than the physical dimensions would be capable of supporting, and this is assumed to be related. It is also theorized that 4940 may actually be the electrical charge, with the metallic form simply an anchor or tool for it to utilize. Interesting. TARDIS? 4940 will typically attempt to disguise itself as a normal electrical transformer. 4940 will climb to a suitable position, then attempt to extend portions of itself into nearby electrical cables and systems resembling wires or antennae. 4940 appears to then feed on electricity, however the exact details of this process are still poorly understood. 4940, if undisturbed, can remain in this state for years at a time, totally immobile, which can make detection difficult. 4940 will typically only move when physically contacted if its previous perch has been damaged or altered, or when it enters the secondary feeding/reproductive cycle. So this thing lives for a while, huh? 4940 is capable of defending itself with both physical attacks, typically slashing or stabbing with its metallic limbs, or releasing powerful focused electric shocks. 4940 will typically attempt to electrocute a subject from a distance, then rapidly stab and slash the subject until dead. 4940 will show special attention to the head and back. It is theorized that it may feed off nerve impulses as well. Well, yeah, it's electrical mechanism. 4940 seems to exclusively exhibit this behavior with vertebrates. So it maybe exhibits a selection process too, huh? 4940, hello mouse, while a very good climber, is either poor at or unwilling to tunnel unless absolutely necessary, preferring to enter internal areas through existing openings such as doors, windows, or roof access points. 4940 is much more aggressive when on the ground, and has been observed exhibiting disproportionate strength, capable of tearing a deadbolt door open. 4940 is capable of rapid movement, the fastest observed keeping a pace of approximately 72 kilometers per hour for brief sprints. 4940 will typically exhibit these properties for a period of less than 20 minutes before attempting to return to a hiding location and growing lethargic. So it's very fast, but it's also like, bro, I'm tired. 4940, when out of its camouflaging state, shows a marked aversion to water and appears to die when immersed for more than 5 minutes. Recovery suppression teams are advised to secure water sources before action. Addendum SCP-4940 Doc 006 Extended Behavior Notes. 4940 appears to be territorial but will at times cluster for unknown reasons. These clusters tend to be limited to a period between 2 weeks up to 6 These clusters tend to be limited to a period between 2 weeks up to 6 months. The behavior does not seem to change any other noted behavior. Aggressive 4940 do not appear to work together but will mutually attack targets if the opportunity arises. 4940 will kill small animals from time to time, seemingly at random. These are almost always birds or rodents, making physical contact with 4940 while it is in its camouflage state. 4940 will typically electrocute these animals, but sometimes will open and crush them. 4940 does not appear to feed on the tissues of these animals, and will often release the crushed bodies within 24 hours. Beyond possible feeding on electrical impulses, there is no observed reason for this behavior beyond presumed territoriality. 4940 appears to prefer outdoor environments, but shows no aversion to internal environments. High moisture content seems to be a deterrent when not in camouflage, but only large areas of open water seem to be an issue for 4940. 4940 Doc 12 Secondary Feeding Reproductive Cycle. 4940 will trigger a local blackout by overloading nearby electrical systems. This behavior is most common after nightfall, but not exclusively. 4940 will then break camouflage and will attempt to enter nearby structures, typically residences. 4940 instances will then attempt to attack any vertebrate organisms inside, showing a preference for targets larger than their current weight and dimensions, as well as those isolated in rooms, with isolation seeming to be the more desirable preference. 4940 will then shock and lacerate their targets to death, showing a preference for exposure of and damage to the nervous system. For a period of typically no more than 1 hour, 4940 will attempt to exit the residences and return to their previous camouflage positions. 4940 will typically wait for a period of no less than 9 months after this behavior to do so again. It is unclear as to why 4940 does this. 2 possibilities are currently undergoing research. The first is that this is some sort of secondary feeding cycle, gaining something from the nervous system that it does not from regular electricity. Maybe like conscious thought? The second is that this may be a reproductive cycle, as many of the small metallic grains found in targets of 4940 exhibit identical properties as the 4940. So maybe it like amalgamates and just grows through either electricity or just maybe like metals. While juvenile 4940 have been found, resembling much smaller 4940, incapable of camouflage, none have been observed to manifest in containment or under observation. Research is ongoing. Quantum. 4940 Doc 61 Electric Life Theory broadcast notes CEDREC 114 approval system. Operating under the assumption that the body is just a glove for the electricity, we can begin to process the behaviors thus noted. This sort of action is not uncommon in even mundane species, with several breeds of wasp, spiders, and beetles securing both nest and food for their young before spawning. Data expunged. The so-called broadcast lend credence to the intelligent if alien life theory. Simply looking at hunting patterns and the ability of 4940 to plan, isolate, and even attempt to disguise its activities would be sufficient to come to this conclusion. However, on multiple occasions, 4940 has shown what appear to be intelligent responses via broadcast, even attempting to frighten and distract targets via electrical devices, in multiple data expunged. While alarming, it is likely there are hundreds, if not thousands, of 4940 instances at large. If a means of negotiation can be reached, the likely cost would be significantly less than their ongoing actions. Further research is pending, while current broadcast incidents are under review. What the fuck? It's like a systematic alien transformer electrical pole alien that's like, hey, LOL, I've got camouflage and feed off of electricity, I'm gonna eat you and steal your brain powers. Okay. I like the alien reference there. Like, okay. Arthropod, autonomous, electrical, Euclid, metallic, metamorphic, mimetic, sentient tool. Alright. It's time to go check out 111. Loving the Yu-Gi-Oh music, bro. Alright. Dragon snails. You know what? I think I've seen this one too. It's like a riff on Dragon Tales. Is this the Dragon Tales one? Nah, I don't know. Item number 111. Hey, even more good music. Item number 111, object class, safe special containment procedures. All specimens of 111 in captivity are housed at Site 19, Blank Wing, in a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter plexiglass enclosure containing a temperate forest habitat transplanted from its natural surroundings. Habitat temperature will be maintained at 30 degrees Celsius. Feeding is to take place weekly by personnel placing 3 kilograms of iceberg lettuce, Lactuca sativa, into the containment chamber. Water is to be supplied by an automatic misting system which regulates humidity levels at 50%, both for water required by 111 and to prevent fires. In event of 111 specimens at levels at 50%, both for water required... In event of 111 specimens breathing, personnel are to collect all eggs and transport them to the Biological Studies Wing for freezing. Description: 111 is an apparently artificial species of invertebrate vaguely resembling snails. Adult specimens of 111 are approximately 20 centimeters in height, 12 centimeters in width, and 15 centimeters in height. Although exact size differs slightly between specimens. 111 specimens differ from ordinary snails in that they have a warm-blooded metabolism, complex eyes, small horns consisting of cartilage-ridged tentacles, apparently increased intelligence. Personnel are requested to read test log blank for examples, and a complex vertebra-type jaw structure as well. Specimens lay eggs possessing hardened shells. Most abnormally, 111 specimens possess small hollow sacs below their lower jaws containing methane from digestive byproducts. A series of data expunged along the inside of the trachea serves as a lighter igniting stored methane as the specimen exhales, blowing a small jet of flame from its mouth. It's a dragon. Said fire breathing generally occurs in event of stress or anger, although it is not apparently used deliberately for destruction but rather as a warning. This is presumably due to the size of methane sacs, which limits 111 specimens in the amount of fire they can exhale at a time, and requiring both time and starch-rich food to refuel. Dragon snails, dragon snails. That's cool. I feel like this is a mad scientist experiment. 111's behavior is inconsistent with that of ordinary snail species, including whistling and hooting vocalizations, easily audible to humans, high intellect seen in such tests as data expunged, and parents caring for their young. Hatchlings have been observed imprinting on their parents, other members of their own species, or researchers. This is presumed to be a deliberate trait based on Document 111A, as it means that hatchlings imprint upon owners. Dude, pet dragon snail? Poggers, dude. I want one for Christmas. History on double blank, quadruple blank. A package containing 12 111 eggs in Document 111A was mailed to Data Expunged, a Foundation Front organization. Mobile Task Force Alpha 4 have proven unable to locate the sender of said package. Mobile Task Force Alpha 4 have proven unable to locate the sender of said package. Was this just from the future or something? Is that what it is? No, not that. Not this song again. Document 111A. New from Dr. Wondertainment. Dragon snails, TM. Dr. Wondertainment. The perfect pets for the fantasy-loving child. Care and hatching instructions. 1. Having read this document, take the eggs out of the box. Be careful, dragon snail, TM. Eggs are fragile. Number 2. Put the eggs in a warm, safe place and wait 7 to 10 days. 3. Hold your newly hatched dragon snails, TM, so they get a good look at you and think you're their mommy. 4. Enjoy your new pet dragon snails, TM. To feed your dragon snails, TM. Give your new little friend some raw veggies, lettuce, Brussels sprouts, beans, and any sort of salad stuff you don't want. Remember to give them water, a small glass each once a day. For your enjoyment, dragon snails, TM, come in 6 types. Breed them for unique pets. Here's the types. Number 1. Slimy bellies, registered trademark. Adorable and oozy little fellows with awesome fire engine red colored skin, little black horns and belly, and a speckled tan shell. Beautiful robin's egg blue eggs. Number 2. Ooze drakes, registered trademark. Inquisitive little creatures with neat banana-colored skin, curly horns, and striped shells. Pale tan eggs like a chicken. Number 3. Wyverns. Registered trademark. Dark blue-gray skin, flattened shells, and a bumpy horned head make gooey verns. Registered trademark. Look like tiny sea monsters. Eggs are a fantastic glassy green color. 4. Blobworms. Registered trademark. Green and gold stripes, pointy shells, and a single horn, not to mention fuzzy tails, make blobworms. Registered trademark. Wonderful pets. Eggs are tan with a silver tint. Number 5. Glow drakes. Registered trademark. New from Dr. Wondertainment. These little fellows may look like blue-black slimy bellies. Registered trademark. Until they light up. That's right, glow drakes. Registered trademark. Glow in the dark. Eggs are a golden color with little red dots. 6. Gunk wyverns. Registered trademark. When the bit goes too far. Chubby, green-skinned, and dome-shelled gunk wyverns. Registered trademark. Make great pets. Eggs are transparent so you can see the baby dragon snail. Registered trademark. Inside. Parental notice. As Dr. Wondertainment's dragon snails. Trademark. Breathe fire. They have been known to cause house fires. For maximum playtime fun and safety, it is recommended that fire extinguishers be kept handy. Despite this, Dr. Wondertainment is not legally, morally, or financially responsible for any injuries, death, or property damage resulting from the unsafe use of dragon snails TM or any other Dr. Wondertainment products. By reading this document and incubating your dragon snail TM eggs, you agree to all said terms and forfeit your rights to lawsuits, organized boycotts, protests, honor duels, etc. Enjoy your purchase. God, that was a fucking bit. Hey, Lois. Hey, come check out this silly SCP Wiki bit. Alive animal Dr. Wondertainment fire invertebrate. Safe species. Good God. Scotty. They're fire-breathing snails. Alright, here's 112. Let's do it. Let's do this. 112, item number 112, object class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures 112 is contained within the abandoned blank blank amusement park. Designated Site triple blank. Site triple blank is to be staffed with a standard complement of 12, parentheses 12, armed guards dressed in designated amusatastic land guard? What? Site triple blank is to be staffed with a standard complement of 12, parentheses 12, armed guards dressed in designated amusatastic land garb to prevent civilian interference. 112's power supply is housed within a standard Foundation prefab building with 2 high-security door locks and a standard staff of 6, parentheses 6 security staff and 1, parentheses 1 operator. Since all other rides in Site triple blank are intentionally disabled, civilian intervention is low. As the anomalous properties of 112 occur regardless of its condition, only mandatory maintenance work is to be done on 112. This also ensures that local civilians treat 112 and its surroundings as abandoned and ignored. All tests involving 112 must be conducted with a portable toilet nearby, as well as a small table with basic food and drink items. I love how if I was ever hired to narrate a book, I'd just be constantly having to do retakes because I'd laugh. You sick fuck. This is a romance story where both the lovers die. Description: 112 is a steel sit-down roller coaster, formerly known as the Blue Steel. Description: 112 is a steel sit-down roller coaster, formerly known as the Blue Steel Surfer. Built in 19 double blank, 112 was marketed as the crown jewel of the blank blank amusement park. Initial testing of the ride resulted in extremely negative experiences from testing staff. Was it too scary? You go into the tunnel of love and get scared, is that it? Oh no, not Mambo. This? No, not that. This is fine. Initial testing of the... When these reports became public knowledge, the financial repercussions of the failure of the Steel Surfer resulted in the parent company of the amusement park going bankrupt. The property was abandoned and undisturbed until 19 double blank, when a local gang broke into the park and reactivated the improperly disabled rides, 112 included. When police attempted to arrest the members who were exiting 112 after its inaugural ride, the riders began to redact it, attracting local media attention. For more information, see archive.112.blank. Suspecting the ride had traits within its mandate, the Foundation purchased the park under the auspices of rebuilding the park as Amicitastic Land in order to test any potential anomalous properties from the ride. Amusitastic Land! I was like, what the fuck is this word? Amusitastic Land. Jesus. It's called Amusitastic Land. Under the auspices of rebuilding the park as Amusitastic Land, Site Triple Blank is to be staffed with a standard complement of 12 armed guards dressed in designated Amusitastic Land garb to prevent civilian interference. Wow, I feel fucking dumb. Holy shit. That was dumb as fuck, bro. When 112 is started, the ride functions as expected until Point Alpha, its primary drop. When a car reaches Point Alpha, the train vanishes. After 3 minutes, the estimated time the train would normally take, the train rematerializes at Point Omega, 3 meters from the coaster's starting point. Okay. Human subjects riding 112 have a drastically different experience compared to outside observation. The time frame between Point Alpha and Point Omega is massively extended, with subjective ride times ranging from 4 minutes to single blank months. That's fucked. The properties of the ride also vary from person to person. Most subjects report elements on the side that do not exist on the ride proper, like bat wings, cobra rolls, and incline loops. Subjects do not have any sense that the rest of the world is alien or otherwise different, only the ride experience is different. Quantum roller coaster. Upon exiting the ride, subjects typically experience feelings of confusion and ill health, depending on the subjective time they spent riding 112. These feelings are based not on any physical maladies, but the subjective experience of dealing with a physical malady for an extended period of time. For example, a subject with a subjective ride time of 3 days may experience confusion that he had strong feelings of hunger for most of his ride, but at the end of the ride he was not hungry at all. Oh! It's perceived time? What? That's kind of fucked. That is insane. Imagine just living in an eternal dream of like 9 months stuck on the roller coaster, and it just keeps randomizing itself. Holy fuck. Oh boy. Somebody out there would love that. At NMA, Assorted Experiments, Experiment 112 34534. 112-34534. Date 02-22 double blank. Subject D34534. D34534 was sent on 112 at 2:42 p.m. The train reached Point Alpha at 2:43 p.m. Rematerialization at 2:46 p.m. Upon exiting 112, 3453 3:45:34. Upon exiting 112, D-3553-4 quietly asked for aspirin before passing out. Upon revival and medication, 3453-4 reported a subjective ride time of 36 minutes, with multiple loops and twists not found on 112's architecture. Experiment 112-675-64. Date 0514 double blank. Subject D-675-64. 675-64 was sent on 112 at 1:30 p.m. The train reached Point Alpha at 1:31 p.m. Rematerialization at 1:34 p.m. 675-64 reported a 675-64 reported a subjective ride time of 4 minutes, which 675-64 reported as enjoyable with the exception of that part where the car jumps off the track and lands right before the loop. Okay. Experiment 112-589-3. I don't know why I'm reading these all different. Date 0601 double blank. Subject 5893. Wait, 5893. Why? Okay, whatever. D-5893 was sent on 112 at 12:30 p.m. The train reached Point Alpha at 12:31 p.m. Rematerialization at 12:34 p.m. At the end of the ride, D-5893 immediately ran to the table with consumables, wordlessly consuming everything he could grab onto, including the wrappers of previously consumed food objects. 5893 became violent when Foundation staff attempted to subdue him, even going so far as to expunged. Upon capture and interviewing, 5893 remained confused and disoriented, continuously saying the phrases "no food till the ride is over," "let me sleep, let the spinning stop," and 152 lights. The Foundation believes that 5893's statements imply that his subjective ride time was approximately 5 months long, and during his trip he experienced 5 months worth of malnutrition and exhaustion, despite no physical proof of those experiences found. That is so fucking heavy. I'm surprised he didn't die from that. Experiment 112-7556. Date 0808 double blank. Subject D-7556, one standard issue camera facing D-7556. D-7556 was sent on 112 at 11:36 a.m. The train reached Point Alpha at 11:37 a.m. Rematerialization at 11:40 a.m. 7556 experienced symptoms similar, but muted, to those of D-5893. During the interview, 7556 explained that his subjective ride time was 1 month and 6 days long. During his trip, he was unable to eat or sleep and suffered major headaches from 112. 7556 reported experiencing every sort of roller coaster element currently in use, and a few believed to be conceptual. Camera footage lasting 3 minutes shows 7556 subbing for the duration of the ride, with movement consistent with 112's physical track. So it was perceived time. What the fuck? Addendum B rider interviews. Experiment 112, 35784, 23512. Post-ride interview number 1. Access. Subject D35784. Interviewer Dr. Blank. Interview type post-ride interview. Doctor, how are you feeling? 35784. 35784 rolls eyes. I'm fine. It was just a roller coaster ride, dude. Maybe you have me confused with the other guy, you know, the one that attacked when the ride was over? Doctor, I will, in time. Describe your experience on 112, please. 35784. What's there to say? Before I was sent to jail, I designed coasters. A couple minutes too long of a ride, you always gotta worry about that. But the twists that thing has are damn good. A few of them I'm pretty sure I mocked up back in... Date, double blank. It would have been a lot better if the blank tard next to me wasn't acting like a damn fool. Wait, they went at the same time? Or what? Oh, okay, I see. I see. Doctor. 235.12? What was he doing? 357.84. It's what he wasn't doing that pissed me off. He was slouched over so much that his restraints were taut, just facing forward. I think his mouth was open the entire time. For a possible, I say it looked like someone who had been on a crying jag for a few hours. I don't know. We got that slow point before the banked curve. I tried snapping my fingers in front of him. Idiot just barely turned to face me. You know what happened afterwards? Doctor, yes, he punched you. 357.84. Not a punch, really. Slapped me, shaking me, trying to choke me. I didn't get the impression that he really wanted to kill me, just wanted to get an answer out of me. That's what he said, actually. Shit like, why didn't you look at me? Why did you not stop cheering the whole time? In a very hoarse voice. I was in mid-question with another when the guards introduced their rifles to the back of his head. What the fuck is going on with this one? Experiment 112, 357.84, 235.12, post-ride interview number 2. Yeah. Subject D 235.12, 23.5.12. Interviewer Dr. Blank, interview type, post-ride interview, forward. His interview was conducted 3 weeks after riding on 112 with D 357.84. 23.5.12 is not willing to speak verbally since his ride. Yeah, experienced expanded fucking time. From time to time, he attempts to speak but shows signs of discomfort and pain in doing so, stating that his throat is too sore to talk. These people got motherfucking gold experience requiemed. While there are no medical issues with 23.5.12, his experiences have obviously left him traumatized from his experience on 112. Dr. Blank estimates a full recovery is possible before monthly terminations, and then at such time he will be capable of estimating precisely how long his subjective ride time was. This interview was conducted through written communication. Given his fixation on certain traits of the ride, his transcript has been edited for brevity. This one sounds cool as fuck. We're almost at the end of it too. I just saw a girl with big jiggling tits. Where is this going? Doctor, hello 23.5.12, how are you feeling? 23.5.12, still hurts, still dizzy, loops and loops, spins forever and ever. God, he is fucking psychically damaged. Not this one. Sure. Doctor, why do you say your throat hurts? 23.5.12, screamed over and over. Girl wouldn't answer me. She never looked at me. I screamed and screamed till I couldn't scream anymore. Throat got better. Screamed again. Never looked, never noticed. Just kept cheering the hell out of ups and downs and ups and side to side and side to side. Wait. Never looked, never noticed. Just kept cheering the hell of ups and downs and ups and side to side and side to side. Doctor, I'm assuming you're talking about the person who went on the ride with you. 357.84. 23.5.12. Girl with the big jiggling tits cheered and laughed and cheered and laughed. Every spin, every turn, every twist. Even when it got dark, I could hear her laughing and wooing. Couldn't sleep because of her laughing and cheering. Light and day, bright and dark, always screaming and giggling. How could she do that? So was she frozen in time or as herself in a quantum dissociation separated consciously so that he was like fucking demiurge of the existence of that period? Her consciousness was just a singular point. Her perception was an entirely different reality from his. So he just saw her stuck in like one state, like stuck in an animation. Oh my god. Meanwhile, she's just like, it was okay. Lasted like 4 extra minutes. The other dude was just sitting there. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god. Stuck in an animation. Fucking broken reality. Doctor, she told me you were just sitting there, staring ahead. She said she tried to get your attention, but you never responded. 23-5-12. I waved and shook her. She didn't move, didn't notice, just kept cheering. Tried to tune her out for a few months at a time. But she never noticed me. Kept cheering, kept screaming, kept laughing at me. I starved and peed myself and slammed my head against the side until I bled and just kept laughing and screaming. Through the loops and the spins and the deep dark dips that never ended, never stopped crushing. Doctor, 23-5-12, I am trying to help you, but acting insane won't help you in the least. There was no injury to your head at the end of the ride. 23-5-12, it was there, I felt it. The warm on my head till it got cold and stopped spilling still itches. Doctor, so what happened at the end of the ride? You had a bit of an issue with 357-84? 23-5-12. She stopped laughing and giggling after all that time and she looks at me and smiles and says, nice ride, huh? And I shook her and tried to ask her why she wouldn't stop laughing and screaming. I didn't want to hurt her, not really, just wanted to know why, repeats double blank times until 23-5-12 is disabled. Holy fuck. Is that a JoJo reference? God damn, that was insane. Euclid, extra dimensional, structure, temporal. Jeez. Why? Alright, time for 113. So far we've had some very interesting ones tonight. I like it. Item number 113, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures 113 is to be kept in standard storage in Site 23. 113 may be handled with laboratory gloves. No organism may be exposed to 113 without prior approval. Personnel exposed to 113 are to be kept under medical observation for 7 days. Description: 113 resembles a small polished piece of red jasper. Analysis shows that 113 is not composed of jasper but redacted, composition similar to that of other recovered objects. When 113 comes in direct contact with the flesh of an organism possessing sex chromosomes, the organism's physical characteristics associated with gender and biological sex are transformed, including genetics and secondary sexual characteristics, either reversed or altered. This process occurs in 4 stages. Stage 1 lasts approximately 0.2 seconds. 113 bonds with the cells that it touches and induces an unidentified chemical change. This process causes tissue damage similar to mild burns, and 113 cannot be removed from contact with the subject until all stages are complete. Stage 2 lasts approximately 20 seconds. 113 emits a low-intensity electromagnetic wave, which travels through the subject's body. Subjects may experience nausea and vomiting, along with a stinging sensation throughout the body. Stage 3 lasts approximately 60 seconds. Throughout this stage, the subject's cellular makeup is temporarily transformed. Altered cell composition ranges widely from being Altered cell composition ranges widely. My brain! Altered cell composition ranges widely from being unidentifiable as human to a unique variation of partially differentiated stem cells. The subject will experience intense stimulation of all sensory nerves during the final 20 seconds of this stage, and described this part of the process as extremely painful. And this is like that one meme I saw on Reddit. It was like, what was it? It was like 80% chance to become your opposite gender if you hit the button, but it is, it's 100% chance to change your gender if you hit the button, but it is the most painful experience you've ever felt, and then you forget it instantly afterward. Subjects in poor health may die of shock at this stage. Hey, in RuneScape, it only costs 1,000 gold, and it doesn't hurt at all. It's also instantaneous, basically. At the end of this stage, the subject's biological sex is permanently altered. In standard cases, the subject's biological sex will be changed to the opposite biological sex. All primary and secondary sexual characteristics are altered accordingly. Stage 4, 113 disengages from the subject and becomes inert. Subjects with sex chromosomes atypical for their species, such as intersex humans, are affected in unpredictable ways by 113. In human intersex subjects, this appears to be influenced by gender identity. Such subjects may be unaffected, or their bodies may change to match baseline male or female bodies, with sex chromosomes to match. That's very cool. Or other results may occur. I've heard that's like a major complaint of the intersex community. Not that I can speak for it, but like people who would rather be like, you know, the gender they identify as rather than intersex, or really just, you know, any aspect of gender. Interesting. Usually change seems to match or partially match subject's gender identity during initial use, if gender identity is non-standard. Whether 113 alters its effect based on the presence of a non-standard gender identity is under investigation. So something that deviates from maybe intersex, I guess? Gender identity of human subjects is not typically altered by 113. In subjects with non-standard gender identities, typical gender identities which do not match their pre-exposure biological sex, this usually results in positive psychological effects. In subjects with standard gender identities, male/female, matching pre-exposure biological sex, psychological effects are usually negative. What? They don't like the change, generally? These appear to be natural psychological reactions and not an anomalous effect of 113. So it's, people just do it and sometimes regret it, and statistically, with this SCP object, people tend to regret it often, huh? 113 exposure results in unusual effects in certain species. In Varanus komodoensis, the Komodo dragon, a number of ZWZZ individuals were transformed to possess WW chromosomes instead of ZZ or ZW, which was in every instance fatal. Huh. In Cinorhabditis elegans, a nematode, no males were produced despite C. elegans having two sexes, hermaphrodite and male. Male subjects became hermaphrodites, and hermaphrodite subjects were unaffected. Note, in wild populations, male C. elegans are extremely rare. Huh. So there's just a tendency towards some logic here. But ZWZZ to WW is fatal. I don't know the major distinction there. ZWZZ. Komodo dragon. I believe they're able to change their sex at will, right? Congenital baldness inheritance in birds, ZZZW. The ZW sex determination system is a chromosomal system that determines the sex of offspring in birds. Oh, pertaining to like cloaca, I think. I mean, not to like make it immediately about like sex organ, but I think this is the identification standard, yeah? ZW sex determination systems is a chromosomal system that determines the sex of offspring in birds, some fish, and crustaceans such as the giant river prawn, some insects, the schistosome family of flatworms, and some reptiles, e.g. a majority of snakes, lacerated lizards, and monitors, including Komodo dragons. It is also used in some plants where it has probably evolved independently on several occasions. There's also ZO. Cephalochordate. Huh. There's no known mechanism for determining how it works. Z linkage is the ratio of mean male to mean female concentration. Okay, so ZZZW is just male-female. What? Huh. So WW is fatal because that's basically YY. Right? WW chromosome. ZZ, WZ, and WW. Crossing the WW males with WW females yielded all female progeny lacking the Z chromosome. This is a public article. Masculine Z chromosome. Monosex populations. So, to retain that. What? This is weird. There are 3 hard chromosomal gender prototypes with certain species. Huh. What is our example here? Rats? Ah. Multilocus polygenic ZZXY ZWXX. So presumably this is the modus operandi of hermaphroditic phyla? Is that the word I'm looking for? Species. ZZXY, ZZXX, ZWXX, ZWXY. So W just seems to... No? I think it's just a general differentiation? Single locus polygenic. Huh. So I guess there's different attributes to the... Huh. Weird. Okay. You learn something new every day, I guess. Surprised I didn't learn about this in biology class. Or if I did, I probably just do not remember. Let's see. Subjects of single-sex hermaphroditic species, such as earthworms, will not be transformed by 113. The object's process will stop at the second stage, and the object will become inert. Previously exposed subjects may undergo 113's effects again by reinitiating contact with 113 after approximately 60 seconds have passed. However, in 25% of cases, immediate second exposure to 113 fails to transform the subject correctly. Transformation failure varies in nature, but usually includes massive bone, organ, and tissue damage to the subject, as well as partial or complete obliteration of genitalia. This commonly results in death by organ trauma or internal bleeding. Huh. Failure rate can be affected by subjects not coming into contact with 113 for a lengthy period of time, which varies by subject. So, gender identity could probably play such a huge role that maybe people just like self-terminate on accident by trying to switch back? Weird. Yeah, maybe like the mental aspect of it causes damage. Patterns are under research. I mean, they're for like when you're not totally sure, I guess, and that could cause it to go awry or something. Under normal circumstances, transformation failure rate increases exponentially upon multiple exposures. Subjects who survive rapid, repeated exposure are eventually transformed, data expunged. Further anomalous elements continue to appear as exposure count increases, so this could be like a sexual evolution type of stone. Create new human Pokemon with this. Reproductive, rewrite, safe, stone, tactile transfiguration. Alright, that one was kind of fun and interesting to read. I mean, it was definitely something way new that I never knew. You know? If you know, you know. Alright, very short one for this one. Item number 114, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. 114 is kept in a 10-meter cube, standard concrete humanoid containment cell at Site 17. The cell is positioned at the bottom of a 40-meter shaft to prevent staff The cell is positioned at the bottom of a 40-meter shaft to prevent staff members from coming into the proximity of 114. You see how many times I messed that up in a row? The cell is accessible by a staircase restricted to emergency use only. Daily rations are provided to 114 3 times a day by means of a dumbwaiter. 114 is also permitted to submit written requests to attending staff by the same means. To date, 114 has been granted 1 Quran, parentheses Arabic, 1 prayer rug, and 1 blank journal with pens. Research on 114 is suspended until further notice. Elimination of 114 is acceptable in the event of a multiple containment breach crisis. Description: 114 is a Pashtun woman of Afghani origin, approximately 40 years old and 160 centimeters tall. 114 has the involuntary effect of fostering and escalating violent conflict between all individuals in her proximity. Subjects within 10 to 15 meters of 114 become inconsolably aggressive at trivialities or points of little consequence, often to the degree of projecting hostile motives on others. Arguments generally arise between individuals after 1 to 3 minutes of exposure to 114. The resulting arguments turn to violence in all cases. Notably, persons affected by the presence of 114 will never exhibit hostility towards 114 or attempt to inflict harm upon her. Subjects ordered to deliberately injure 114 find themselves unable to do so. For relevant information, see Experiment Log 114A. This is links to Experiment Log 114A. It's pretty short. Communication with 114 has only been possible through written notes or electronic means. Researchers have gleaned that 114 is unaware of her effect on other people. She shows little to no response to exposure to the violence. And seems to be under the impression that human beings are naturally aggressively hostile to each other. 114 is consistently unresponsive and uncooperative with researchers, and appears to be acutely wary of human interaction. Due to the difficulty of communication with 114, psychological evaluations have been speculative at best. Rudimentary assessments strongly suggest psychological trauma, combat stress reaction, and/or compassion fatigue have been tentatively proposed. Document 114A, 898-12. Abridged eyewitness report from blank blank, a former soldier in the 40th Red Army, interviewed March 23, 1991. Translated and transcribed by blank blank. We took blank on February the 1st, 1980. It was a shit little village, but the Mujahideen put up a damn good fight. 8 of our men killed, 15 wounded. 1 tank destroyed. It was dead cold, too. You think the Middle East is warm, but you go to the mountains in February. It is not so. Anyway, we're mopping up the area, going through the huts, looking for weapon caches and the like. It seemed like every doorstep had some old babushka weeping and tearing at her hair and clutching our knees. But at the end of the street was one big hut, no babushka outside. Only there were trays of food left out like an offering before the door. Blank pauses for several seconds. So 6 of us go in to search. It was big and empty inside, dusty and practically bare. Didn't look like anyone had been in there in a long time. But soon we hear this soft whimpering though, and look! Over in the corner there is a little girl, must have been 8 or 9, curled up and all alone. Pyotr. He was a big softy. He goes over, he bends down, puts out his hand, says, "Come on, little one, it's okay, we won't hurt you." But the girl won't budge, and Pyotr stands up all stiffly and looks back at us funny. Konstantin walks over and puts a hand on his shoulder, tells him to leave the girl alone, laughing good-naturedly. Pyotr gets all red-faced, like he's had a full bottle, and shouts, "Get your damn hand off my shoulder," or something of the sort. He looks like a wild animal. We're all in surprise, and suddenly they're on the ground, and he's bashing Constantine's face in with the butt of his rifle, screaming. It took 3 of us to pull him off, and by then Constantine was dead. Alive Euclid humanoid mind-affecting rewrite sapient sentient. Alright, experiment log 114A. Experiments were performed between double blank, double blank, double blank, and double blank, double blank, double blank. 114 was placed in a test room with distancing protocols similar to her containment cell. Attending researchers observed through remote electronic means. Experiment 114A1. Procedure D1269 and D8543 were placed in the test room with 114. No instructions were given. Results. Subjects did not attempt to interact with 114. After 75 seconds of exposure, 8543 verbally requested a cigarette from 1269. 1269 responded with negative. 8543 proceeded to shove 1269 against the wall of the test room. Subjects began fighting with apparent intent to kill. Subjects ignored verbal entreaties to cease. Subjects terminated. They killed both of them. Throughout the experiment, 114 watched the proceedings but was visibly unmoved. Experiment 114A2. Procedure. Subjects 5410 and 5699 were placed in the test room with 114. A plastic screen was placed across the length of the test room so that subjects were unaware of the presence of 114. Results comparable to experiment 114A1. Subjects terminated. Experiment 114A3. So they've killed 4 people so far. Procedure. Subject D1002 was given a carving knife, stainless steel, 15 centimeters. Subject was placed in the test room with 114 with orders to kill her. Results. 1002 immediately rushed at 114. 114 recoiled, screaming. 1002 stopped abruptly at approximately half a meter from 114 and dropped the knife. 1002 stood still for 4 minutes, growing visibly agitated. Just sitting there getting fucking angry. At 5 minutes, 1002 began yelling incomprehensibly and moving around the room in an unnatural ape-like fashion. After 8 minutes, 1002 began banging on the walls with his head and fists. Subject was rendered unconscious. Subject terminated. Well, you don't want to study if he's still violent? He made himself unconscious. Go pick him up. Dumbasses. That's 5 people killed. For the sake of science. Experiment 114A4. Procedure D4343 was placed in the test room with 114 with orders to remain still. After 4 minutes, subject was forcibly removed from the room by robotic means. Okay. He's a little too good at his job, I see. Results. Subject showed signs of aggression and agitation comparable to experiment 114A3. Heart rate was recorded at 210 BPM. Blood tests revealed levels of cortisol and adrenaline impossible without the application of drugs. Subject returned to a normal physical and mental state after approximately 15 hours. Jesus! No wonder. They probably were scared the motherfucker was gonna wake up and kill the doctors. Still stupid. Could have anesthetized everybody. Experiment 114A5. Procedure 7250. Subject 7258, a native Afghan, was administered a dilute mixture of mild sedatives, antidepressants, tetrahydrocannabinol, alpha blockers, beta blockers intravenously. Subject was placed in the test room with 114 and ordered to attempt normal conversation. Results. 7258 addressed 114. 114 maintained eye contact with 7258, but did not respond. After 45 seconds, 7258 began shivering and shouting. At 1.5 minutes of exposure, 7258 fell to the floor in convulsions. Subject expired after 3 minutes. Autopsy of the cadaver revealed massive cerebral hemorrhage. So, she compels the subject to produce in the brain these chemicals, and the cocktail they put him on killed him. The differential of like aggressive fight or flight active chemicals combated the depressant sedative stuff, and it killed him. Experiment supplement. Jesus fucking Christ. That killed everybody. What is wrong with you guys? Alright, here's 115, another shorter one. Can we get more Yu-Gi-Oh music, please? Yeah! We played this earlier. Or, wait, no, I'm thinking of a different song, right? It was City Night, that's right. This is World of Darkness. From, Nightmare Troubadour. Item number 115, object class safe. Special containment procedures. 115-1 is to be stored in the secure vehicle storage facility in Site Double Blank, where access is restricted unless accompanied by level 3 personnel or higher. 115-2 is currently being kept in a secure drawer of Dr. Blank's desk. 115 is not to be used without Dr. Blank's explicit approval. Any site using 115-2 must return it in a timely manner or face punitive measures. No other special containment procedures are required. Description: 115-1 is a toy dump truck with no identifying markers or labels to identify its original manufacturer. However, unlike regular toy dump trucks, 115-1 weighs as much as the actual vehicle it represents, roughly 90 tons? How do you pick it up? How do you keep it in a goddamn desk? It is currently unknown how the vehicle weighs this much, as analysis of 115-1's composition reveals that it is made of the same commercial plastic company. As analysis of 115-1's composition reveals that it is made of the same commercial plastic commonly found in similar cheap quality toys. It's from the future, bro. You know what? This is the Master's minification rate. He just downsized it. 115-1 is also capable of motorized movement and can function exactly like a normal dump truck, excepting the fact that it is several magnitudes smaller. It is controlled by 115-2, which resembles a heavily modified RC car controller. Yeah, it's a child's toy from the future. 115-2 can control 115-1's movements, despite the fact that 115-1 lacks any kind of radio receiver or mechanical parts. 115-2 does not work with any other radio-controlled device, but otherwise functions exactly like a mundane radio controller, even requiring batteries to function properly. Was this like a spy tool? Some motherfucker had to, like, I don't know, kill a robber at a school or something. So we brought a fucking fake toy truck and smashed his toe in or something. Testing has shown that in addition to its abnormal weight, 115-1 also has a similar carrying capacity as its larger counterparts, being able to carry or tow roughly 120 tons of cargo. What? In addition, 115-1 also apparently needs diesel fuel to run properly. Doesn't need as much. There's a small port in its left side that allows fueling, though it stores and consumes as much fuel as a regular dump truck. Oh. Okay. Sure. I mean, like, why not? It's already breaking so many laws of physics. There's a small port in its left side that allows fueling, though it stores and consumes as much fuel as a regular dump truck. How it consumes the diesel fuel as where it is stored are issues currently under study. 115-1 was originally found in a construction site at Blank, where workers attempted to move it, but found the task impossible due to the fact that 115-1 weighs 90 tons. They were forced to use heavy machinery to finally move 115-1 off the construction site into a nearby town, where it became a local curiosity. Agents Blank and Blank discovered 115-1 and found 115-2 at the same construction site. Class A amnestics were distributed among the townspeople in order to cover up 115-1's existence. To anybody using 115-1 for testing, I'd like to remind you about Newton's laws. Driving 115-1 recklessly at high speeds is inviting disaster. We've already had to deal with several destroyed walls and equipment due to improper handling, Dr. Blank. So they specially crafted a desk drawer cabinet to hold this fucking thing. in a secure drawer. What? This must be like a fucking 200-ton steel safe drawer. What the fuck? Miniature safe toy vehicle. Huh. Very odd idea, but cool, I guess. I don't know what to think of that. Alright, here's 116. This is the symbol Delta, right? Where'd that go? Huh? Where did I just see that? God damn it, I want it for context. There it is. Procedure Delta? Ah, nice. Can you fucking not? Jesus! Why do I want to fucking hover drag something? I don't want to select the entire page. Okay, yes, it is Delta letter, a Greek letter also used in mathematics and computer science. Item number 116, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures 116 is kept in a 16 by 16 meter cell, constructed of Kevlar with 1 meter porous rubber padding on all surfaces. No personnel are to enter cell without proper briefing and threat reduction measures. See Appendix 3. Cell is to be monitored at all times by 6 agents, 4 stationed at corner points of cell, and 2 stationed with 116. No pointed objects or intrusive testing equipment of any kind are to be placed in the possession of the agents within the cell. Outside monitoring is achieved using VBSOS class concealed button cameras stationed at high corners in the cell. Outside monitoring is to be carried out by further 2 agents. If suspicious activity begins, initiate Achilles Procedure Delta. All monitoring agents, internal or external, are to undergo bi-monthly IQ tests, as well as standard weekly psychiatric analysis. Significant drops in the IQ of agents, greater than or equal to 5 points, is to be regarded as prolonged exposure and to be treated as outlined in standard quarantine instructions. Description 116 has the outward appearance of a Caucasian male of around 9 years of age. Skin is cauterized and scarred over 98% of body, limbs, and head. That is fucking gruesome. 116's bone structure is drastically different from standard Homo sapiens bone layout, and all bones are dangerously brittle. The most distinguishing difference between the human body and that of 116 is the non-existence of joints in the latter. 116 is entirely capable of independent movement, but to do so would cause multiple shattering breaks to all bones affected by said movement. To combat this, 116 shows remarkable self-healing, and over a period of minutes can completely regenerate its rigid bone placement. 116 has shown some language skill since acquisition. However, the only language it speaks is a disrupted and broken version of English, in which every word has been replaced with an almost entirely unconnected one. What? Interesting. Prolonged attempts to make sense of 116's speech have resulted in some long-term mental degradation in researchers. Huh. So he says Desu at the end of every sentence. Checkmate, anime weep nerds. There seems to be no pattern to the word placement, and attempts continue to translate it. Research suggests that 116 may be capable of low-level telepathy, which deteriorates the victim's brain functions over a long period of time. This links to 4830, weirdly enough. Cool, brain scan. Wait, noosphere? Whoa. 4830 is to be monitored for transmission from the noosphere into the infosphere. What the fuck? What? Okay. It's a brain scan. A gif of a brain scan. The colors are depicted in like a yellowish to blue to green. Or I guess yellowish to green to blue. In terms of heat mapping, I guess. The image is extremely grainy. Probably because it's just scans. But there is a scale on the right-hand side measuring something. Probably just relative measurement. Yeah, it's a full brain scan from what appears to be top to bottom. Item number 4830, item class Keither. Special containment procedures 4830 is to be monitored from transmission from the noosphere. Footnote 1, the collective of all human consciousness and thought. Into the infosphere. Footnote 2, the collective of all information. In the case... Blank new... Okay. In the case... Nil. Noosphere, infosphere transmission, or situations requiring neutralizing 4830 at any cost, Scranton guillotines... Footnote 3. Scranton reality anchors forming a thin shell, nil absolute reality around an area. I'm assuming what that's happening. There's just blank spaces. So anytime there's a blank space, I'm saying nil. And it's not like standard censored block text blanks. It is just white space. I guess it could be space? Alright, let me go back then. I'm gonna use the word space to indicate gigantic blank spaces that are not blacked out text. Item number 4830, item class Keither. 4830 is to be monitored for transmission from the noosphere, the collective of all human consciousness and thought, into the infosphere, the collective of all information. In the case space, noosphere, infosphere, in the case space, noosphere, infosphere transmission or situations requiring neutralizing 4830 at any cost, Scranton guillotines, Scranton reality anchors forming a thin shell space, absolute unreality around an area, are to be deployed around all Foundation sites and areas, save Area 13, until 4830 is neutralized. All Foundation space displaying signs of 4830 exposure are to undergo Class Z amnestic regimen space quarantine within a Scranton guillotine and have their memory dumped to space earliest memory dump on file. Any deviation of over 10% in long-term memory is to space a space breach, and the infected employee reassigned to Area 13. This sounds like recruitment into the second Foundation in Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. Select cognitohazards, space, injected into the noosphere to space, and stem the growth of 4830. Collateral damage to space is a non-issue as any individual's space present non-anomalous early onset degenerative brain disorders. Disinformation campaign space pandemic space. Footnote 4, airborne transmissible spongiform encephalopathy. Airborne transmissible spongiform encephalopathy. Within scientific space. Period. DC 4830 is space. Introduce space. Saturation of space. Voluntary skull rupture, space, cerebrophagy into horror media, cerebrophagy into horror media, space, copycat cases. Description, Space. Intangible, killer, mimetic, memory-affecting, meta-neurological predatory. What the fuck? The image does not have a caption, by the way. Alright. What the fuck? Like some psychic noosphere entity? Genetically engineered? And it got out of control or something? Appendix 1, Sergeant Blank Blank, 19-0529, Memorandum, May 29th, blank. Subject, development of suicidal... Subject, Subject, development of suicidal tendencies by 116. NB 116 has begun to show extreme suicidal tendencies. Request modification of monitoring and containment protocol to avoid unique damage to subject. Appendix 2, Dr. Blank Blank at 19-1429. 116 language notes, June 19th blank. 116's unique linguistic setup is one of increasing interest to me. Continuing research by my team and me has yielded these somewhat basic results. Attached file 116 linguistics underscore lowercase a capital A 0.001.doc. No clear reasoning has been found as to why 116 communicates in this way. Although the words spoken by it are English, the parameters under which they operate are drastically different. No attempt has yet been made to produce written language from 116 due to bone structure anomalies. Even speaking can be an extreme challenge for 116. I don't know why I keep switching. Despite its experience dulled pain receptors. I've taken a special interest in this subject as the way in which it reacts to normal English is remarkable. It is obvious that what we say to it sounds just as garbled to it as what it says back to us does to us, if that makes any sense at all. In all my years at Site 19, I've never seen anything quite like it linguistically. I'll continue to study and record what I find. Appendix 3, Lieutenant Blank Blank at 19-0349. Memorandum, June 30th, blank, subject, procedure of and relating to worrying new suicidal tendencies shown by 116. I. No solid equipment weighing more than 8 pounds may be taken into cell. Double I. All interior guards are to have canine teeth filled until blunted completely. Triple I. Security level is to be raised to RT5. Full body cavity search and X-ray before entrance to cell is granted. I don't know why I'm reading it like this. 4. If any asphyxiation or hypoxia appears to be affecting 116, emergency CPR is to be administered by internal guards. Suggestion noted that 116 should be connected to a life support machine even when not in danger of death, to prevent unintentional termination. How? He's gonna like degrade. Appendix 4, Sergeant Blank Blank, 19-0529. Memorandum, July 11th, blank. Subject, cessation of research re 116. Any and all research regarding 116 is to be immediately halted until further notice. Dr. Blank, the primary researcher into 116's language and delayed telepathy, is to be removed from this site and kept in solitary confinement until all symptoms of his dementia and schizophrenia have dissipated. All personnel involved with 116 are to be quarantined until further notice. Full bone marrow transplants are to be performed on all agents who have been in tactile contact with 116. Suggested termination of interior guard protocol noted. What the fuck? Appendix 5, Colonel Blank Blank, 20-0212. Subject cessation of 116 project. Memorandum, March 20th, blank. Given the suicidal tendencies of 116, its deleterious effects on involved personnel and lack of significant useful progress in research, I propose we allow 116 to self-terminate in a controlled environment. This thing has so far proven to be a fruitless waste of resources. Perhaps post-mortem examination will provide us with answers we haven't been able to obtain so far. So still alive, maybe? Alive, Euclid, humanoid, language, mind-affecting, sentient transfiguration. Alright. Here's 117. 117, object class safe. Special containment procedures. 117 is to be kept in a small leather pouch it was found in. Let me grab some water really quick. Look at the fucking brain damage. Getting tired. Getting a bit tired. Oh, that's so much better. I'm gonna hit up the bathroom really quick too, one sec. Enjoy this music while I'm away. Alright, I'm back. Special containment procedures. 117 is to be kept in the small leather pouch it was found in, unless in use or in current study. Any personnel deemed mentally fit may enter the containment cell of the SCP, though if they are suspected to be trying to remove the SCP without permission, they are to be searched, and if that is the case, they are to be reprimanded. The door to the containment cell should remain locked, and a guard posted only when the object is in use. Description: the item appears to be a regular multi-tool of unknown make and brand, found in blank, Florida. At first glance, only the normal tools are found: screwdriver, knife, can opener, etc. But if the user is faced with a task, regardless of what tool the subject intends to pull out and use, a tool perfectly fitted for the job will take its place, regardless of spatial quantities that are being broken by the tool. You can pull a fucking chainsaw out of this? Other tools always seem to be present, though after the task is completed and the tool closed, unless faced with a task requiring that tool again, the tool cannot be found on that tool again. Addendum: those with level 2 security clearance should see Document 117B. Document 117A, effects of usage. After countless uses and testing with the SCP, it has been discovered to cause harm and possibly death to the user by means of absorbing iron, copper, calcium, and zinc from the user's body as long as the user is touching the device. Gloves seem to have no curbing effect on this, and the rate of absorption seems to depend on the tools used / created by 117. So don't make a chainsaw with it then. It is advised that only Class D personnel are used in conjunction with this SCP to prevent death or injury of researchers. Haha, joke's on you, I'm gonna use it to make an 05 keycard, fuck off. Document 117B, usage log of 117. Redundant entries not entered unless they exhibit different results. Situation: tool produced by SCP. A loose screw on a metal plate. Screwdriver, though not the standard screwdriver. A nail barely in place of... Holy fuck, I cannot talk. A nail barely in piece of timber. Standard hammer. A piece of timber with proposed cut lines drawn. An electric saw which needed no outside power source. A piece of bulletproof glass. An unknown laser cutting tool which needed no outside power source. SCP triple blank. A bloodied combat knife. An agent with a broken bone. A small item with a trigger which when pulled emitted an odd radiation, instantly healing the injury. Neat. Class D personnel fit for execution. Data expunged. Communication needed with 363? Data expunged. See Incident Report 117-3F. 05X clearance required. Huh. OSX clearance. You must use the Apple Macintosh OSX operating system to view this one. Alright, well, let's take a peek at that really quick in just a second. Apple Mac OSX. Here's 363. Probably too long for tonight. Like I said, I'm getting tired. A non-shuffled deck of playing cards. A mid-sized mechanical shuffler. Class D personnel with terminal cancer. Item similar to 6th test. Interesting. So, this thing. It shoot out a beam and healed them. A perfectly healthy Caucasian human male with no criminal record. Data expunged. A perfectly healthy Hispanic human male with no criminal record. Data expunged. Why you gotta bring race into it? 138. A metal plate with the phrase, "That's rough, buddy," carved into it. What? We're gonna see this one soon enough, so... yeah, if you want to pause it and read it. A silver dinner fork in perfect condition. No tools can be found on the SCP, so it doesn't make dinner for you. Data expunged. A screwdriver. A dirty window. A nozzle that sprayed a mixture of soap and water that completely cleaned the window. An uncharged iPod. The iPod end of the charging cord which needed no outside power source. A blank sheet of standard computer paper. A pen filled with seemingly infinite supply of black ink. So this thing presumably is like a future object used to like repair spaceships or TARDISes or whatever. Repair fucking Dyson spheres with us. A Samsung cellular phone. A small device that, when attached to the phone, increased signal strength by approximately 250%. Why? Okay. A paperback copy of How to Survive When Reality Doesn't. A functioning lighter. What? Clef excerpts is what this links to. Okay. Here's another page if you want to pause it. I am not reading anything else except for sequential tonight. I'm tired. A hardcover copy of a Chronicle of the Devas. Non-anomalous. A functioning lighter. So, you want me to burn book? Burn some books? A hardcover copy of a Chronicle of the Devas. Anomalous. A functioning flamethrower. Item burned with no complications. What? A hardcover copy of a Chronicle of the Devas. Non-anomalous, but recovered from the Wanderer's Library. An anti-book lice spray. This book should not fucking exist. And it's so unique that it breaks this SCP for some reason. Book lice. Wait, what? The Wanderer's Library is like an entire thing. Okay. Cool. Document 117G. Developments concerning 117. After exposing the SCP to an array of different items and people, it appears that the object may very well be sentient to some degree. Because of this, we must consider the fact that the SCP is susceptible to telepathy and must not come into contact with any SCPs with known telepathic powers. What? Dr. Kleiman. The above was a transcript of the personal notes of Dr. Kleiman, who seems to have taken a harmless interest in the object. Testing with other SCPs is suspended as of 9/16 Note 117-154 Testing is suggested for 882 and is currently under consideration by Dr. Kleiman. Kleiman? You Kleiman? A different gears. This one looks familiar, though. Note 117-2. 6-19-20 double blank. Further biological testing is halted by Dr. Kleiman after incident 117-4A. The SCP is still fit to be used for any repairs around the facilities, as long as the SCP is followed by one or more armed guards briefed on proper use of the SCP. So just like put a fucking blueprint in the room, outline what this object is, and then make it fucking formulate the equation to make a safer version. It turns into a pencil that writes the equations for you. Note 117-4, 621-20 double blank. After much consideration, I must deny testing of 117 with 882. The risk of damaging 882 is simply too great to overlook. So it's like rusted gears, but it's important for something. I don't remember what that one is. Dr. Kleiman. Note 117-26, 9-16 double blank. After incident 117-3F, I'm forced to put a stop to all testing of 117 in conjunction with other SCPs. The risk of a total loss of containment is far too great. All biological testing is to be halted until a later date, as the results so far have proved varying. There's a limit of Class D staff available for my research, Dr. Kleiman. Note 117-27, 720 double blank. Biological testing resumed by Dr. Kleiman with mixed results. Testing of 117 with other SCPs under reconsideration by 05 single blank. Though it seems unlikely further testing will occur. Note 117-20 blank. Note 117-28, 320 double blank. Testing is suggested for 682. Well, naturally. Metamorphic, safe, sentient, telepathic, tool, weapon. You can't kill 682, even conceptually at this point. It just persists, motherfucker. That's why it suggested you try and kill it. Not that it actually does anything. Where's this image? Potential security risk? Okay, just fucking give it to me on image search then. Like, what? I hate when this happens. Not Delta. Come on. Come on. Come on. I should probably search exactly what it's titled to. SCP-118pic.jpg. Can I copy this now? Keyboard is not responsive at enough time. Okay. What is this? Wallpaper abyss. What? Don't show me porn. What? Nuclear protests. Why do I have a Yu-Gi-Oh card representing this? Huh. Dude, anime SCP? Feet tickler SCP? LOL, dude. Huh. See lots of rifles and cars and well-dressed people. What the fuck is this? Is this a Naruto reference? Past Trunnion. Okay. I think I stumbled on someone's OC. 118 nuclear protests. This card is attacked. Destroy the attacking monster during damage calculation. If flip summon, destroy this card in 2 random. That's OP. Oh, it's 6 stars. I see. Can I just get 118? I'm even gonna like Google foo this. Duck foo. Search foo, I guess. If you're like not a Google supporter like I am. Nuclear protests. I guess this is the image? It appears to be a battleship with an explosion on the horizon. It's a black and white photo. Not much here except that gigantic explosion in the water at the distance. Kind of like a cloudy day a little bit. I can't tell. It seems like there's the outline of several people. So it could be like a smaller vessel. And this is a nuke detonating. Or it could be a battleship and maybe I'm just hallucinating that these are people. But this right here looks like a dude in shorts. This looks like a guy fishing or something. I don't know. Looks like there's a head there. Looks like there's a guy's head here, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's the Great Ocean or somewhere out in the water. There's an explosion, goddammit. There's a big fucking explosion in the distance. Alright. I don't know why this image will not load. Like, is it unsafely hosted? Is it a virus? What's up? The caption for the image says, "Picture from containment failure in red zone, single blank, 19 double blank. Item number 118, object class Euclid. Special containment procedures due to the number and distribution of 118. Containment of every specimen is impossible. Known 118 red zones are to be closed off to all civilian marine vessels and divers under the guise of a military presence or other plausible cover story. Contacts in navies known to operate near 118 red zones are to be utilized in order to minimize the passage of military vessels through the red zones. If any area within the red zone has a depth of less than 1,500 meters, the restriction is to be applied to aircraft as well. All human activity in surrounding yellow zones is to be monitored, and any non-military vessels or individuals approaching the red zone are to be turned away. In the red and yellow zones, protocol Toxic Harvest is to be followed to ensure the removal of devices generated by 118. Furthermore, protocol Cell Watch is to be followed to ensure the early detection of any emerging red zones. Samples of 118 can be stored using standard containment procedures for non-virulent anomalous microbes. Huh? Description 118 is a species of ocean-dwelling protista which is capable of assembling functional, self-initiating nuclear devices from materials present in ocean water. Fucking nuke fish? While 118 is unknown and hence has not been classified by the scientific community, specimens resemble protists of the phylum Euglonophyta, but have significantly increased levels of movement speed, nutrient storage capability, and resistance to alpha radiation. Specimens of 118 have been found in all of the world's oceans and seas. Nuke fish! Nuke fish! We nuke the fish or the fish nuke us? How are we gonna end this war? Oh my god, this is like the time traveler joke I saw on Reddit the other day. Time travelers, what would be the most unbelievable headline? Fish destroys half of Hawaii. There you go. It's because of nuke fish. When in a survivable saltwater environment, specimens of 118 will seek out materials including but not limited to iron, silver, copper, carbon, TNT, and uranium isotopes. Welcome back, Bosie, by the way. Glad to see you joining. When 118 has located a material of interest, the material is absorbed into the cell, using a method dependent on the size of the material. Single atoms and molecules, mostly substances that are dissolved in the water, are passed through the cellular membrane through specialized protein pumps. Larger particles smaller than the cell itself are ingested through phagocytosis. Larger pieces will have particles torn off through an unknown mechanism, which are then absorbed using the first two methods. This mining occurs even in solid and hard substances, such as metal ingots. Smart fish. Upon reaching a threshold of absorbed material, specimens of 118 will move towards an assembly area on the bottom of the body of the water they are present in, and will contribute to the assembly of a nuclear device. These nuclear devices assembled are gun-type fission devices using uranium-235 as their fissile material. Observation of devices in this process of being assembled show that the process starts with the assembly of a metallic rounded cylindrical casing for the device, followed by the creation of two subcritical masses of uranium and the conventional explosives to propel them into each other. Strike-through, the mechanism by which 118 enriches harvested uranium, is currently unknown on Strike-through see Addendum 4. This is how, by 2022, the Cosmos 3 is like a huge meme. There's 2,000 spin-offs on Steam, and it's all because of nuke fish. Keep making this fucking joke. The device is then finished with the assembly of a uranium-238 tamper, where the two uranium masses will collide in the assembly of a trigger mechanism. 118 appears to assemble the necessary components by adding minuscule amounts of material to an initially tiny material seed. Nuke fish! Nuke fish! Differing atoms and molecules can be added to the same component, and assembled components are not necessarily homogeneous. It is currently unknown whether 118 builds on the seed atom by atom or by adding very small submicrometer fragments. The mechanism by which 118 attaches new material to the seed seamlessly is unknown. The assembly time depends on the size of the device being assembled, water conditions, and mineral availability, but observations suggest that 300 days for a medium-sized device can be considered average. Fucking nuke fish. Once a nuclear device is finished, 118 will detonate the device by completing a circuit in the trigger mechanism. There's no point, it just explodes it. Around 90% of the nuclear explosions recorded as a result of 118 have had yields in the 20 to 35 kiloton range, although yields as low as 4 kilotons and up to triple blank kilotons have been reported. This is their like mating mechanism, they gotta detonate their sperm? Aside from cases involving human interference, failure to detonate has never been observed, as all nuclear devices recorded have either been detonated of their own accord or removed from the water prior to completion. What the fuck? Devices constructed by 118 appear to be larger than man-made devices of similar design and yield, presumably due to the neutron moderating effect of the water that separates the uranium masses throughout much of the device's construction. A given assembly area typically has between 1 and 3 devices in the process of assembly at any given time, although as many as 6 at a time have been observed. In zones where multiple devices are being simultaneously assembled, the devices are separated by enough distance to prevent the detonation of one from destroying or setting off the others. While the Foundation is unable to prevent civilians and other organizations from obtaining samples of 118, its superficial similarity to existing species, few numbers relative to all oceanic protista, lack of anomalous behavior outside of material-rich bodies of water, and the Foundation's standard monitoring of scientific studies at risk of uncovering information about anomalous biological species ensures that the chance of 118's true nature being determined through cell samples is minimal. Don't they have Foundation scientists? Idiots? There are currently 6 different active 118 assembly areas known to the Foundation. While the natural disappearance of an assembly area has been observed, the current consensus among researchers assigned to 118 is that elimination of assembly areas without massively noticeable effects is currently unfeasible. See Experiment Log 118 Gamma for details. Thus, containment is to be established at 118's assembly areas to be designated red zones and surrounding yellow zones. Furthermore, areas with elevated concentrations of 118 zones of interest are to be monitored for signs of assembly areas. What the fuck? List of containment zones, level 4 clearance required. Well, in lore, we are above that by now. Red zones, Red Zone 1. Location Mid-Atlantic, coordinates redacted. Zone Commander, Captain Romanov. Note, USS blank incident occurred double blank kilometers outside this red zone. Red Zone 2, location North Pacific, redacted coordinates. Zone Commander, Captain Chambers. Red Zone 4, location South Pacific, redacted coordinates. Zone Commander, Captain Knapp. Red Zone negative. Oh, that's not negative. Red Zone 5, location Indian Ocean, redacted coordinates. Zone Commander, Captain Wayne. Note, proximity to shipping lanes reduce tolerance for nuclear explosions. Red Zone 6, location North Atlantic, coordinates redacted. Zone Commander, Captain Fazil. Note, proximity to SOS US hydrophones reduces tolerance for nuclear explosions. Red Zone 7, location redacted, coordinates redacted. Zone Commander, Captain Blank. Note, Red Zone lies within blank city limits. This, combined with a shallow average depth of Red Zone, the heavy shipping traffic in the area, the ongoing tensions between blank and blank, a nuclear power, and the presence of Foundation personnel and facilities in the city, makes a nuclear detonation in this red zone unacceptable. In addition, heavy ship traffic through the area and heavy air traffic above the city make restricting access for any long period of time impractical. Nuke fish! Nuke fish! Zones of interest, ZOI, ZOI-1. This is, coordinates. Blank north, blank east. 118 levels increasing around 5% per year. ZOI area growing approximately 3% per year. ZOI-3, blank north, blank west. ZOI covers approximately 20 oil wells. 118 levels and ZOI size currently stable. Former zones, FZ. FZ-RZ-3, blank north, blank east, formerly RZ-3. Last device assembled in 1992. 118 levels dropped to average oceanic values in 20 double blank. FZ-ZOI-2, blank north, blank west, formerly ZOI-2. 118 levels dropped to average oceanic values in 1986. Addendum 118-1. Following the USS Blank incident, the exclusion radius used when drawing red zones had been increased. Containment protocol Toxic Harvest has been updated. Addendum 118-2. With the signing of the Partial Test Ban Treaty and growing number and capability of nuclear detonation detection methods in use, the consequences of nuclear detonations caused by 118 have increased. Containment protocols have been revised in light of these facts. Addendum 118-3. Due to the significant cost of containing 118 red zones, the O5 Council has requested trials on possible methods to eliminate 118 assembly areas. Experiment Log 118 Gamma Level 4 clearance required. Red Zone Eradication Trials Summary. Dude, what? Nuke fish! Introduction. Researchers with access to the files on 118 are allowed to submit proposals to eradicate an 118 assembly area with acceptable levels of collateral damage. The ones approved by Toxic Harvest Command and the O5 Council will be carried out. Trials are to be performed in red zone single blank. Proposal. Sterilization of unfinished nuclear device and immediate surroundings using a UV light emitter. Approval. Approved. Result. Area around unfinished warhead initially free of microorganisms. However, 118 concentration returned to normal levels within an hour. Non-sustained sterilization of sites seems ineffectual. Any method we come up with will have to keep the red zone, or at least the sea floor of the free of 118 for an extended period of time. Dr. Brandt. Proposal. Sodium hypochlorite pumped to ocean floor. Approval denied. Result. No answer. The chemicals will disperse too much to be effective. Any amount sufficient to reduce 118's numbers will cause massive ecological damage. Dr. Klaus. Proposal. Depth charge bombardment of ocean floor to break up under-assembly devices. Approval denied. Result. No answer. Aside from the fact this would break our naval budget, the chances of triggering the conventional explosive in the devices and causing a fizzle is too high. It'd also make our activities even more detectable with hydrophones. Dr. Klaus. Proposal. Sweeping of ocean using a Cobalt-60 powered directional gamma ray emitter. Approval. Approved. Result. While procedure resulted in the sterilization of swept area, procedure was far too slow to sterilize entire red zone before specimens returned. Keeping entire red zone sterile would require impractical numbers of emitters and vessels. While it's a shame the device cannot get rid of the red zones for us, I think it can be of use to our device recovery teams. The gamma rays can sterilize the devices we recover to prevent undesired detonations during the recovery of almost complete devices. The gamma rays can also penetrate into areas where our current chemical and UV sterilization methods can't reach. Captain Thompson, RZ-3 Zone Commander. What the fuck is going on? Proposal. A plastic membrane to block access to ocean floor at red zone. Approval. Proof of concept on one under-assembly warhead approved. Result. First attempt was unable to acquire a watertight seal around warhead. Membrane in second attempt was too fragile for ocean conditions and was torn off its moors. Third membrane, manufactured using a thicker and sturdier design, had hundreds of micro tears ripped in it within hours, possibly due to 118's mining action. Not surprising considering that 118 has been known to wear through the casings of old artillery shells to harvest the explosives within. We'd hoped that cutting off the assembly area would work better than cutting off the raw materials. Dr. Klaus. Proposal Compound Blank pumped to ocean floor. Compound V? Note, proposed by Dr. Blank, former researcher for 118 currently working at Bayer Research Site Double Blank's Chemical Research Division. Tests confirm that compound is lethal to 118, remains concentrated at bottom of water and degrades to relatively harmless chemicals in water over a period of 15 hours. Approval approved. Result over 1 week, 118 concentrations on ocean floor fell to 3% of previous levels. No signs of progress observed on 2 known uncompleted nuclear devices in red zone. However, 100 days after the start of the experiment, an under-assembly nuclear device was detected 60 kilometers north of the red zone. Measurements in this area indicated vastly elevated levels of 118, and the area around discovery was reclassified as a red zone. Furthermore, the unexpected breakdown of compound blank by certain species of organic Furthermore, the unexpected breakdown of compound blank by certain species of oceanic bacteria resulted in toxic byproducts that caused a noticeable die-off of fish in treated zone. Upon stoppage of experiment, red zone was observed to gradually migrate back to former location. It seems that making a red zone non-viable served only to move 118's assembly areas to a new location. Nevertheless, perhaps if we can improve compound blank, or find a new one whose application is more subtle, we can move red zones into areas away from areas of human habitation or commercial activity. Dr. Blank. Proposal, use of SCP quadruple blank via blank. Approval denied. Result no answer. SCP quadruple blank has classified properties that preclude its use in such a manner. 055. Conclusion, due to increased media attention to areas around red zone single blank, due to aftermath of the application of compound blank, and the lack of proposals without high risk of risks of substantial collateral damage, testing in red zone single blank has been suspended. Addendum 118-4, Level 4 clearance required. Our research has determined 118 enriches uranium by exploiting the fact that U-235 has a slightly greater preference for a high oxidation state than U-238. 118 specimens which have harvested large amounts of uranium and are in near assembly areas appear to develop specialized organelles, resembling a series of thousands of vacuole-like chambers with mitochondria-like organelles within them, responsible for catalyzing reduction and oxidation reactions. U-118 enriches uranium by exploiting the fact that U-235 has a slightly greater preference for a high oxidation state than U-238. In a given chamber, uranium is repeatedly reduced and oxidized. Compounds with uranium in higher oxidation states are transferred up the chain of members, while compounds with lower oxidation states are transferred down the chain. This results in a small amount of highly enriched uranium at the very end of the chain. Researchers and engineers at Research Sector's Single Blank have managed to create a prototype uranium enrichment device based on the principles employed by 118. While the prototype was unable to produce weapons-grade uranium without using unreasonable amounts of time, it was successful in producing reactor-grade uranium, albeit at significantly greater cost than conventional methods. Despite its current limitations, the idea shows promise, and I have forwarded our findings to the relevant front companies. Dr. Blank. Hey, just use this to generate energy. Encapsulate them in areas where they want to do it, and harvest their energy. Alive, aquatic, Euclid, microscopic, self-replicating species. Alright, 119 time. Tea time. Item number 119, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. 119 is to remain open and unplugged at all times, except during testing. The door to the room in which 119 resides is to be locked for all periods, except during experimentation, with the entry codes given only to authorized research and security personnel. An industrial-grade disinfectant will be available nearby at all times. And the inside of 119 is to be heavily disinfected before any testing. The contents of 119 are to be monitored through the viewing window on 119 at all times during testing, and will be stopped immediately should the contents become hostile or otherwise damaging to 119. Description: 119 is a Panasonic redacted microwave oven. It was initially discovered by an agent who had bought it from a liquidation sale of the assets from Blank Valley Vineyards. It is believed that Blank Valley Vineyards was using the anomalous properties of 119 to rapidly age its products and create expensive vintages. Records show Blank Valley Vineyards making under-the-table sales of vintages dated as far back as 19 double blank, many years before the company's inception in 2005. These sales are what led to the lawsuit accusing the company of falsifying product information and other forms of fraud, which eventually caused Blank Valley Vineyards to declare bankruptcy. "119 appears to be a standard model microwave in all respects, except that the magnetron unit does not produce microwave radiation. Instead, the magnetron emits a previously unknown type of radiation that accelerates time. Time microwave. First we had nuke fish, now we got time microwave. Nice. Fucking time microwave. Goddamn time microwave. The amount of time accelerated is based on the time input given at the start, and the power level setting. Time input allows for 3 digits, and there are 5 power level settings. On power level 1, the number of seconds input equals the number of seconds it's experienced within the microwave. Therefore, an input of 30 seconds would cause the microwave to run for 30 seconds, at the end of which the object will have aged 30 seconds. Each subsequent power level past 1 causes an exponential increase of the acceleration of time. At power level 2 with an input of 30 seconds, the microwave will run for 30 seconds, and the contents will have aged 900 seconds, 15 minutes, or 30 times 30 seconds. At power level 5 with an input of 999 seconds, the microwave will run for 999 seconds, and the contents will have aged Jesus fucking Christ, bro. 995 trillion, 9 billion, 990 million, 4,999 seconds. Parentheses 31,529,964 years. That hurt my brain. Experimentation with the other buttons on the microwave have not resulted in any anomalous properties, although they do still function as would be expected from a normal microwave. The minute plus button, for example, adds 60 seconds, and the defrost function prompts the user to open the door and flip the contents periodically. What? That's a thing on a microwave? Does it say flip? Huh. I never use defrost. I just manually defrost shit. I'm defrosting burgers right now. Pressing the minute plus button during operation, however, does not recalculate the adjusted time acceleration, really causing the contents to age at the pre-calculated rate for another 60 seconds. E.g., power level 2 for 30 seconds would age for 900 seconds, 15 minutes. Input of minute plus 1. Input of minute plus would result in the microwave running for 90 seconds and aging the contents 2,700 seconds? Okay. 45 minutes, or 3 times 30 times 30. Instead of aging the contents for 8,100 seconds, 135 minutes, or 90 times 90. Weird math. 119 can be dismantled and replacement parts can be substituted for every component except the magnetron. When placing the magnetron in any other microwave, including duplicates of the same model, the magnetron continues to exhibit time acceleration. However, replicating the effects of anything above power level 2 have failed in every model except the original microwave in which the magnetron was found. Huh. Weird. Although 119, like all standard microwave models, will normally only function when the door is closed. During deconstruction, it was determined that disabling the closing mechanism allows the device to work while open. Oh shit. Time microwave. Subsequent testing determined that the radiation emitted from 119 has a fallout pattern very similar to the microwave radiation it replaced. However, further experiments operating 119 while open now require the approval of a clearance level 4 personnel. Addendum, after subsequent testing, it has been determined that the accelerated time experienced within 119 is not accelerated from the perspective of those being affected, instead causing the occupants to perceive that they are simply staying inside of the microwave for the adjusted duration. Should living creatures be exposed to 119 for extended durations, they would quite quickly die of starvation, as they will require as much sleep and food as they would outside of 119. So it's a temporal radius that you can apply to anything. Therefore, further experimentation with living beings now requires the approval of a clearance level 4 personnel. This is how you make a TARDIS. Just accelerate time 1,000 years after creating a TARDIS seed. There you go, bam, free TARDIS. Furthermore, due to the possibility of microorganisms undergoing accelerated evolution within 119, industrial-grade disinfectant has now been added to the containment procedure for 119. That makes perfect sense. Test log for 119. This links to a completely different article. Appliance electrical Euclid radioactive temporal. What's this? I'm fucking tired, bro. Let's just go with 120 and finish it. It's a very cool one, but I don't know if I care right now. 119 can wait. There is an addendum to it. Item number 120, object class safe. Special containment procedures due to its importance to the Foundation. 120 is to be kept under video surveillance and armed guard at all times. Any personnel attempting to utilize the item without authorization are to be terminated immediately. All personnel wishing to use the item are required to submit a filled copy of the application form, document number 120-23, to facility operators. Due to the precise timing and coordination required for efficient use of this object in an emergency, all personnel entering 120's building are placed under temporary command of the facility head's Captain Blank, Security Detachment, parentheses level 4, and Dr. Blank, Research Team, parentheses level 4. All destination locations are to be kept under surveillance and armed guard. They are valuable to the Foundation but are non-critical, but any compromised destination must be immediately reported to 120 personnel. Distributed Task Force Sigma-6 Puddle Jumpers was created with the objective of protecting and maintaining 120's facility and location outposts. Sigma Puddle Jumpers consists of one command unit and one defense and maintenance unit based at the 120 facility at command double blank. 5 units based at the destination locations plus 5 reserve units for these, and 5 units assigned to other 120 related objects. Description: 120 appears to be a small child's paddling pool, pastel pink in coloration, with an inner diameter of approximately 2.5 meters and inner height of 0.3 meters. The pool appears to have been fabricated from common earth plastics, but it has shown itself to be indestructible by any attempted means. See Research Report 120-32 for a full summary. The pool's structure and response to pressure are typical for such a pool. It will flex when pressure is applied and is soft to the touch. It has amazing tensile strength and cannot be permanently stretched or ripped. What is contained within the pool seems to be a brightly glowing colored liquid-like substance, which seems to exist only partially in our dimension. It is unresponsive to manipulation by organic or inorganic means. but the substance ripples and shimmers systematically and regularly, suggesting it exists physically on another dimension. 120's most interesting and useful property is used regularly by Foundation personnel. Human beings, when alive and carrying loads, under clothing, under 37.8 kilograms, are observed to fall through the pool and are deposited at one of 11 destinations. Kiddie pool portal? These will be detailed in an addendum. The item will only function in this way if certain conditions are met. The subject must be genetically human, the subject must be conscious, the subject must be carrying weights of under the specified amount, and only one subject must be present on the surface. Test subjects attempting to use 120 while these conditions were not met reported their feet making contact with a smooth surface underneath the liquid, but no significant effects were observed. 120's main use is as a potential means of evacuation for Command Double Blank during a major emergency. That's fucking sick, dude. Portable, indestructible kiddie pool portal. It is currently stored and maintained in a fortified outbuilding of this facility. To inspect evacuation procedures, refer to document 120-22. 120 was first brought to the attention of Foundation authorities on 31/08/1992. Local police authorities in Blank, California were investigating reports of missing children in their jurisdiction and discovered and reported the item on 31/08. Overwatch Command was automatically informed through the usual channels, and a small team of Foundation agents was dispatched to claim and transport the item to Site 19, where it remained for testing over the next 2 years. It was transferred to its present location at Command Double Blank in 1994. Addendum. Document 120-7, destructive test results for 120, 24/12/1993, abridged version. No results for everything. Handsaw 30 centimeters, industrial drill steel bit, industrial drill diamond bit, munition 9x19 millimeters parabellum, munition 5.56 by 45 millimeter needle, munition 7.62 by 39 millimeters, munition 120 millimeters M830 heat, cutting torch acetylene, cutting torch hydrogen, cutting torch propane, CO2 laser peak power 100 kilowatts, CO2 laser peak power 500 kilowatts. No results for all tested. Document 120-10. Detailed explanation of 120's capabilities and destinations. 12/02/1994, abridged version. 120 possesses the capability of instant translocation of human beings, possibly through one or more alternate dimensions. Subjects using the item are invariably deposited at one of 11 locations. These locations cycle in a specific and unchanging pattern. 11 destinations and their locations were determined through testing with Class D personnel carrying radio beacons. They are detailed here. Location 1, Pacific Ocean. 120's liquid displays a blue glow while connected to this destination. Subjects attempting to travel to this destination are deposited an average of 2 meters above the surface of the Pacific at latitude blank south, longitude blank west. A Foundation ship, SCP Demeter, publicly the USS Nassau, a meteorological ship, is currently stationed at this location, and personnel arriving through the US-120 materialize inside the ship's cargo hold. Cool. Sensitive Foundation material or personnel can be sent here in an emergency, and the ship has provisions for storage of low-threat SCP objects should the need arise. Class D personnel used to dial 120 can be confined and extracted by helicopter or reused, or simply terminated and their bodies retained in storage. The original Class D and radio transmitter used to determine this location were lost at sea and might have to be recovered in the interest of secrecy if they were to wash up on populated shores. This configuration of 120 was arbitrarily designated as number 1 and has no observable significance above other configurations. Destinations 2 through 11 follow in sequential order after this configuration and return to it after a full cycle. Travel by 120 to this location is not advisable during storms due to risk of injury. Gonna get stuck in the floor. Location 2, Greenland. 120 displays a bright white glow while dialed to this destination. Subjects traveling to this destination materialize 1.5 meters above the surface of Greenland at latitude blank north and longitude blank west. A small facility was established here under the public pretense of oil industry expansion. The facility has similar capabilities and use to the Demeter, and is additionally equipped with an airstrip and refueling facilities. Location 3, L3, located at the Earth-Moon Lagrange Point 3. The SCP displays a deep black color. Objects and personnel sent through the SCP to any Lagrange point. Locations 3, 5, 8, 10, and 11 are effectively lost, as retrieval is impossible at our current level of technology. They may prove a possible way to remove small but threatening SCP objects, but for now are merely an inconvenience, as sacrifice of D personnel is required to move the SCP to its next configuration. Moon pool, moon pool, moon pool. Nice, Brosi coming in with the Giga Chad jokes. Location 4, Himalayas. 120 displays a white glow similar to when it is dialed to location 2. Materialization occurs at latitude blank north, longitude blank E, on a mountain in the Himalayan mountain range. Only minor changes have been made to the destination. The digging of an 8-meter hole for disposal of D-class bodies, an overhead canopy for concealment, and supplies and tenting for evacuation to this location, which should only take place in extreme circumstances. D-class personnel used for dialing are to be injected with a mixture of sedatives and neurotoxin before sending, to ensure a human death and decrease risk of damage to the structures of Location 4. They actively fucking euthanize people that go through the portal for this. Location 5, L5, identical to Location 3, so just out in space. Location 6, Location 6, Sahara. 120 will glow yellow. Personnel materialize at latitude blank north, longitude blank E in a small outpost. The need for secrecy renders this facility unable to house any significant SCP object, but is ideal for evacuation of personnel and documents from command. Location 7, Gobi. 120 displays a brown glow. Moon pool, moon pool. This destination is located at a small outpost in the Gobi Desert, latitude blank north, longitude blank E. It is otherwise identical to the Location 6 outpost. However, the expansion of 4024 poses a significant threat to the outpost's operational viability. 4024? What the fuck? Okay. This looks like a really fucking sick Minecraft build. What am I looking at? Alright, well there's the page again if you want to pause. Location 8, L2, identical to Location 3, although shows more potential for SCP disposal, being situated beyond the moon. So they are different locations, just out in space. It's hard to tell the difference, really. Location 9, Mare Imbrium. The SCP displays a subdued gray glow when dialed into this destination. Sic Transit Gloria Mundi. What? Alright. It's under tail. This destination is on a relatively flat section of the Sea of Rains on the lunar surface. Moon pool! Moon pool! Moon pool! Through vast expenditure of money and D-class personnel, a small outpost has been established there, and is considered one of the Foundation's safest locations. Foundation is on the moon! Location 10, L4, identical to Location 3. Location 11, L1, identical to Location 3. Well, that seems extremely useful and also incredibly dangerous. Don't invert it or you'll fucking lose the thing. Container, indestructible liquid portal safe teleportation. Alright. Well, that's gonna do it for me tonight, homies. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for popping in, everybody who stopped by and dropped by to check out this stream. Appreciate you. And yeah, drop a follow on the Twitch channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the main edited YouTube videos channel. Follow the Twitter. Go subscribe to the VOD Archive channel and come join the Discord. That's it for me tonight, homies. I wish you a great night. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, one last thing. If you can't see the links in chat, which just scroll up, or I guess I'll post them again. Click the About section. You can find them over there, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and link them in chat too really quick. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.